Today, I've got the pleasure of speaking with Hendrik Thamer, co-founder and CEO of Cellumation. Hendrik, can you give us a brief overview of yourself and explain your experience in automation?
Yeah, thank you, James. Thanks for having me. My name is Hendrik. I'm 43 years old. I'm CEO and co-founder of Cellumation. My background or my journey began as I studied computer science. Then I made a PhD in AI and logistics. And together with two co-founders from our university, we developed a unique conveying technology, which we, starting from 2017, have brought now to not every country in the world, but many countries in the world. And now I in this scaling phase. The startup phase is over, and now we are scaling and have some different applications, different products, and entering the logistics.
Excellent. So where did your passion for the industry come from, or what made you want to be a part of intralogistics specifically?
That's a good question because that was not my first career goal. For my goal was after the studies to make a PhD, and there was the opportunity to do it in a logistics automation institute. And so I started there. My parents were very scary and said, "What do you want to do with logistics? Do you want to drive a truck or something different?" And so I started there and had the benefit to investigate different applications. The first project was a robot for container unloading, then intelligent forklifts. And one day my co-founder Claudio invented this conveying technology, and we said, without knowing what it means, oh, that's a good idea. Let's make a business out of that. And then we started. And I would say my passion has come on the way. And first, I hardly know anything about intralogistics, but now I love it. And I see also it sounds so easy. You are bringing a parcel from A to B or sorting parcels, but when you go into the details, you see the real complexity, and that's very fascinating. And I think it's an area, where many people underestimate the effort you have to do to make a reliable process automation or process improvement.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what changes have you seen in the industry in your experience so far?
I think as I started, and this was 2009, it was logistics or interlogistics was only a cost factor. And so was everybody thought, okay, we have it, but we don't want to have high cost solutions. And now I think it's accepted as a field in the process or in the business with a huge economic potential, especially through the labor shortage, which has increased over the years dramatically. And therefore, everybody's very open to find automation solutions. And to be honest, many processes in the interlogistics are also very hard for humans to do, very repetitive. And so I think it's a good time to bring robotics and AI to the field. And in my understanding, the last 2-3 years, there's a huge increasement of integrating that kind of solution. And that makes it very exciting for companies like us, but also for people who want to work in the area.
So when it comes to intralogistics in the next 5 to 10 years, do you think that AI and robotics are going to play the largest role in this?
I think so, yes. Definitely a larger role. I don't think that humans will completely disappear in the warehouse. I think it's not possible, and it's also not good because the businesses are performed through humans, also working together with humans, and that's something. This emotional intelligence, I think, and I hope AI will not adapt this one, and therefore I think the humans will not disappear, but we will get much more automation solutions, connected systems, intelligent platforms to connect all the systems, which that I think in 5-10 years it will be a huge increase up to now, and very excited to be part of that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's very insightful, Hendrik. Now, when it comes to yourself, what do you think are the biggest hurdles that you've faced in getting to where you are, either personally or with the founding of Cellumation, and how did you overcome these?
Yeah, from the company level, it was very good that we didn't know what we didn't know to this time, because the way to build an automation startup in a traditional industry is not so easy. There's many hurdles. Then, especially events like the pandemic, shortage of electrical components, it was very hard for us. As we started the company and the products are ready, then the pandemic cut our sales process. We have, of course, some virtual conferences, but nobody buys a machine seeing it online. And this was very hard. From the personal way, it's it's a huge step from a researcher in an institute or university to a CEO of an industry company. And this was a very big step. Of course, the professional skills you need for doing the business, but also especially the leadership skills. It's totally different when you're 3 people, all are founders, and now we have 60 people. And this is, I have to grow every time with a company. That's a huge benefit to have this opportunity, but it's also a challenge because you have to do it. The company is growing and growing, and the problems every day or the issues are every time there, but they change. First, you need to find the investors, and then you make the product market fit, and you have to do the sales channels, and that's a big way. And this, I wouldn't say there was one biggest hurdle, but when you put everything together, it's a hard way. That, to be honest, it's a hard way to build something from the scratch to an industry reliable product which you have achieved now. I must say, every founder I see, independent of the product application, I have a huge respect, and I know, okay, that's a big way. Good luck.
Yeah. So what would be your advice in overcoming these kinds of hurdles? Would you just say perseverance, or is there a trick to it?
You have to, in my opinion, you have to clear your mind. You have to, of course, you have to know, you have to educate yourself every time that you're growing with a company, getting some more skills, but also on your personal level. That means you have to have a clear mind, a fit body, because it's like sports. It's not easy to do this, and it has a high pressure on everything. When you're not able to cope with the challenges, that's also the fast way to burnout, if you want. You can easily do that. And so that's very important that you have time in the week where you spend or optimize yourself. And that's very important. And this is, I learned in the first 2 years, that's, you can, of course, for me, it's very easy to work 12 hours each day on the weekend. I can do that. I have enough work to do this, but I think it's not very sustainable.
Yeah. So you think a good work-life balance, or taking the time to relax as well as putting yourself into the world?
Yeah, I really don't like the word work-life balance, because for me, it's totally personal opinion from my side. For me, it's work part of the life. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and so it's also my life in a way. And the distinguish between work and life has a meaning that's totally different. And as a founder, it's a very huge part. And if you don't like your work part, I think you have a shitty life.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Now, going back to cellumation briefly, you've got a really interesting product on the market at the moment, and it's quite dissimilar to anything else in terms of conveyance. Can you talk me through the inspiration behind it a little bit?
Yes, that was the inspiration comes as we are working in the research institution in Bremen. And the idea was from my co-founder, Claudio. He's the inventor of our team. And the application, I can remember, it was we needed a very flexible conveyor face in front of a loading robot, because we couldn't ensure which parcel is coming to the robot. So we needed a very flexible buffering space, sequencing space, and there was nothing on the market. And one day Claudio looked at YouTube, makes scientific investigations on YouTube, and found some small soccer robots with 3 wheels on the downside, moving in every directions. And the idea was, hey, this robot is doing what the parcel should do on the conveyor, and so let's turn the robot upside down and connect it with other robots, and then you can move parcels in all directions. The idea sounds, the first step's crazy, but as very motivated researchers, we thought, hey, let's do it. And on the weekends or after the normal working hours, we built a small prototype. When you see it now, it looks ridiculous, but it's it was enough to convince ourselves, oh, that's a big business idea, and there everything started. And it was an idea, but the idea is very important, but the implementation then is the real challenge.
Yeah, that's really interesting how inspiration can just strike from all different angles. Now, when it comes to this specific technology, do you think there's any specific problems in intralogistics that the cellumation solution is best equipped to solve?
Yes, of course. We are best when you have higher throughputs of parcels and you have a very small space available. That could be layer descrambling for depalletizing, layer forming for palletizing, singulation of a bulk flow of objects with up to 10 pph, 10K pph. We have developed an intelligent switch. We call it cross-docking. That means it's totally independent how many inbounds, how many outbounds you have. We can sort parcels in parallel like a traffic cop. We can say which object has to move, which not. And that's the beauty of our system. In general, to distinguish everything a little bit better, we have a very modular conveyor platform, but it's not modular in the sense that we have hardware elements for different functions. The hardware is every time the same. This single hexagon with 3 cells, but the software changes. So each functionality is a software application. And therefore, we can do basically everything and what conveyors can do. Of course, just moving straight forward is a little bit oversized. We can sell it, of course, but up to now, nobody has wanted this functionality.
Okay, excellent. Now, going back to yourself for a moment, Hendrik, what would you say, CEO, is your management and leadership ideology? How have you grown your organization since its founding?
I really enjoyed in the time before in the university to have this self-responsibility and a kind of freedom to do or to grow yourself in a structure, which was, of course, in the university a little more established than in a startup. And I tried to give this trust and this possibilities also to our employees who are working with us, who are going this way. I want to build a system where everybody can be part in cellumation and also have the opportunity to grow with the company, to achieve his or her personal growth goals. It could be totally different. Some would say, I want to be the big boss of this department, and some would say, I really like this this topic and want to be an expert in that. Totally independent of the people. And I must say this kind of leadership has some benefits when the people are wanting this, but sometimes it's also good to give a clear direction and say what to do now. So I have to say this, the leadership culture or company culture has changed a lot in these years. The leading 3 people or 60, totally different, because 3 people, you can do everything on your own, you can discuss everything. With 60 people, you need team leads or other managing directors who are responsible for departments. And when these people are right, and this in cellumation, we have the benefit that we have good people there, then you can make very good progress in every part. I really underestimated this value of company culture at the beginning. Of course, you can read books and everybody say, yeah, it's very important, but when you see it live, direct in your company, if you have a motivated team or a non-motivated team, totally different. And from my experience now, it's very important, a very important part.
Excellent. Now, speaking of culture and workforce, now the intralogistics industry, I'm sure you would agree, has traditionally lacked a degree of diversity, particularly in leadership roles. Now, in your eyes as a CEO, what steps can be taken to better support women and people of color to advance and succeed in this field?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we are getting better in the last years, but there's definitely also a big potential to do that. At cellumation, we are, of course, very, very open to that. And we have also, I think, from five leadership roles with women in our company. And it's a very important step to have this diversity in the company. And we are we can put it up in three parts. First, the recruitment process. There, it's independent of the person. Of course, qualification has to be right. We are looking and supporting women or other minorities in our field to engage in cellumation, and also supporting people here in our company who are working here to get to give the opportunity to make the next step together. And this company culture is extremely important. Therefore, you must offer flexible, small things when you think about it, but it makes a huge difference for people. For example, flexible working hours, part-time, home office, to give the opportunity to this family when somebody didn't need to make this distinguishment between family or career, so that you can give him some opportunities or develop a specific growth plan together. And then, of course, leadership. You have to tell it every time that we are very keen on bringing the intralogistics diversity level to a next step.
Excellent. Excellent. That's very insightful. Now, Hendrik, what would you say has been your biggest achievement in the last year, or what are you most excited about on the horizon?
Excitement. I'm excited and proud to be part of this scaling story now, that we have now signed big customers, starting a global sales network, rolling out new challenges like before, but that's very exciting. And when we are in this kind that our systems are running over the world, that would be a very, very big step. Also personally I know the beginning, there was only a CAD drawing we had. And when you see this small drawing, and now then it's running in big companies all over the world, that's very good. And then the last year, the biggest achievement, I think, and there are many, but the biggest was structural change in the company to be prepared for the scaling. Also, we have the COO, for example, who is now taking part of the operational stuff, new departments, new structures to be able to cope with the scaling. And also on the shareholder side, we found a very good investor who is supporting us in the goal to build a sustainable company. We are not this short-term startup who wants to be on the short run and then sold for millions of money. Of course, millions of euros would not be a problem later on. We want to build something sustainable, and that's very important to have also on the shareholder side people with the same mindset on board. And this, I would say, was a huge achievement to put it together.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great to hear. Obviously, sustainability is so important in our day and age. Now, is there anyone in the industry or perhaps from university who had the biggest influence or impact on your work?
At our starting, and also now, the company AutoStore was very inspiring, because they were the first who made this system integrator sales model, which we are also following. So we looked at a lot of this very successful company. On a personal level, I have the privilege that I have many mentors, also former CEOs from intralogistic companies, but also from the shareholder side, which I can phone every time when I want. And one situation I can remember was very important was in 2016, 1 year for founding. One of my mentors, also a former CEO from a system integrator, visited us to see the first demonstration setup. And this was just before founding the company, and it was in the university. And there, the system runs well, but at the end, there was a failure. The system stops. And we thought, okay, 95% has worked, 5% okay. And then we went back to the conference room, and then we get a very direct and hard lecture that an industry product never fails. And this was very, very important that we have made this step. And I'm very thankful that he was so direct. And it's life gives you lectures, but you have to listen to them, and it's working.
Excellent. And finally, what advice would you give to someone looking to move into the industry in 2025?
Be open for a fascinating industry and connect with the people. I think in our industry, everybody knows everybody in a way. And when you want to start, I really like the people because most of them are very hands-on, and it's not so complicated to be connected or to find the right people. And then, yeah, it depends on what you want to do, of course. But I think in my experience, this direct contact with people and sharing ideas, finding partners, I think that's in our industry very good. And yeah, when you want to automate something, I think there's a lot of potential now. It's the right time. So enjoy and work hard. That's also